Hey everyone, we're live. Okay. Come in and leave a comment. And thank you for being here. I know I don't have set times to do my live. Hey Chanelly, welcome. Come in and leave a comment. Hey Sherry, welcome. I'm waiting till the people start coming in. I hope hopefully you can hear the. Oh, you caught it by chance? Really? I emailed everyone. Unreal. Unreal, which means my emails probably just went straight to spam. Unreal. Okay. Hold on. Okay. Jennifer, welcome. And yes, I know people probably are working and stuff like that. Yep. Let me give it a couple minutes for people to come in. I am here. I am here. We're going to have a fascinating time today. We're going to look at the ancient past. We're going to have a fascinating time today. And you know the usual shadow banning and all this nonsense. Hopefully you guys can hear that background noise, right? I think this is noise cancelling headphones. Isis, welcome. We're going to give it 2 more minutes for people to come in. Unreal. I sent out the emails yesterday. I sent the text this morning. It's like, okay, whatever. Okay. We're going to give it 2 more minutes and then we're going to start. You know how I like to give people time to come in? Okay. Welcome. Let's do a quick roll call. All right. So it's not a lot of people here, but that's okay. That's okay. So welcome, Chanelli, Sherry, Jennifer, Isis, E. Carter, and anyone else who's here. Thank you so much for being here. I wanted to give people time to come in because we're going to have a fascinating show today. You guys are going to absolutely love this show. Jessica, welcome. Okay. So everyone coming in, thank you, love you, appreciate it. Okay. So we're going to get started and we're going to have two guest speakers to come in and we're going to talk about ancient Atlantis and why ancient Atlantis was a global civilization. We've been lied to. It was an advanced civilization. No, they were not eating each other, but how I believe that came about, how the destruction came about. We have two videos, and the next part two is going to be so incredible. You guys are going to say, what on earth? I mean, it's incredible stuff. So this is part one. And then we're going to go to part two. So part one, Atlantean gods and guardians in stone. And then we're going to be making a part two. So Lima, okay, welcome Lima. Thank you so much for being here. All right. So as you guys know, I've been on the hunt for Atlantis. I do not believe that Atlantis was, just in the Atlantic. They were too powerful to be in the Atlantic. I believe that when Plato wrote about Atlantis, Plato wrote about Atlantis when Greece was an empire. Okay, let me say this again. The reason why Plato wrote about Atlantis, and he heard it from an Egyptian priest called Solon, is that was when Greece was an empire. And Greece was only an empire for a couple hundred years, which means Plato caught the end of Atlantis. Leilani, welcome. Okay, he didn't catch the beginning of Atlantis. Okay, so what we're doing is we're trying to use puzzle pieces to put pieces of the past together from people all over the world. And we're starting from here, right where I am in the wonderful state of Texas, to do this. We are going to start first with, and I have two special guests that I want to bring in who specialize in specifically their parts of history, and to see how we can connect this or what else we can learn from this, right? Because we're always here to learn, right? We're going to start by watching a short video, a short clip. Let me post the link. The first clip is, hold on. The first clip is called um, Atlantis, Milos Return. Atlantis, Milos Return, right? You're going to find this fascinating, okay? We're not going to play the volume. We're just going to watch the clip. Everyone got that? Press 1 if you understand what I'm saying. I'm not going to play it with sound because they blocked my sound from playing anyway. But I just want you to watch the clip because there's something I want to show you. In these cartoons, they do a lot of disclosure in the cartoons, but you also have to remember the cartoons are filled with truth and they're filled with lies. The movies are filled with truth and they're filled with lies. So they put some disclosure in there, but they twist the story. Yeah, like look at his fingernails. Like who has pyramid shaped fingernails? Like really? Right? So in the cartoons and in the movies, they put some truth and they mix it with lies. So what we're seeding out is we're looking for the truth that's in this cartoon to match something we know in the physical. Okay, so everyone press 1 if you understand what I'm trying to show you. What we're looking for is we're looking for one tiny nugget of truth that I could prove in stone. And I'm going to start with this video clip. This video clip is called Atlantis, Milo's Return, right? I know there's no volume. Watch the screen. I know there's no volume. Watch the screen. Okay? All right, so I'll tell you this clip that we're going into. This guy is like an artifacts guy. He steals artifacts, he kills people, and then he sells off the artifacts. So he's a dealer, okay? And then he sells it off for like tons of money, and he's an unscrupulous guy. Now watch this. This part of Atlantis, Milo's Return, is in the desert Southwest. I live in the desert Southwest. Okay, watch this. Okay, pay attention. We're coming on the clip that I want you to see. Okay. There's so much in this cartoon that I discovered in reality in the desert Southwest. Okay, we're almost there. Okay, now watch this part, right? Watch this part. So he takes dynamite, right? And he's going to blow up the stone cave that they're in because they discovered something inside of this mountain. Okay, he puts the dynamite on top of the opening of the cave. Stop that. Does everyone see the opening of this cave with dynamite on top of it? That's in a cartoon about Atlantis in the desert Southwest. Does everyone see the doorway of this cave? Okay, thank you. Everyone press yes. Okay, wonderful. Look at the doorway of this cave. Okay, now watch this. That doorway of this cave. Look at this photo that I took. Does anyone see anything peculiar? Would you like this is an actual doorway of an actual cave, of a photo of a cave in the desert Southwest? Does anyone want to see the two of them side by side? Press 1 if you want to see them side by side. Press yes if you want to see them side by side. And remember, the name of the cartoon is Atlantis, Milos Return. Thank you, Ikana. Okay. Let's close this. Okay, this is the cartoon about Atlantis, about them finding an ancient rock civilization inside of a mountain in the desert Southwest. This is them side by side. On the left is the photo. On the right is the cartoon. Do you see this? And on the right, the cartoon is about Atlantis, an Atlantean civilization in the desert Southwest. And Atlantis being the mother civilization of all the civilizations in the Americas. Okay? All right. So we did that one. I'm going to close this one. This cartoon is about Atlantis, the Lost Empire. We're going to watch this video. Okay? So this is the Atlantean. Her name is Kida, as in Makida. Her name is Kida. She has the white hair, and that white hair is the bloodline of the Shebas. The Shebas all have black skin with white hair. All the bloodline of the Shebas. And if you don't believe me, go look at the Sheba of the house of Kasambura. Okay, they're all black skinned with white hair, not blonde, white. They are born with white hair. She has the mark under her left eye, and that mark should be a pyramid. She has the mark under her left eye, which is an upside down pyramid. And she's a Kida, Kida, short for Makida. Go look up that word, right? So this is the cartoon called Atlantis, the Lost Empire. In this scene, she's wearing the Atlantean crystal that keeps Atlantis alive. It's a crystal that keeps them alive, that powers their civilization, that gives them fresh water, that keeps the people alive, that provides the crops. That's all of this. And they're under the sea. So they're not under the sea, they're under the sea, but under the sea, which is where I told you guys about in the where Leviathan lives. If you go back to my old videos, I told you guys that Leviathan doesn't live under the sea, but he lives in the trench, which is under the sea. So where Atlantis is now, Atlantis is not under the sea. It is under the trench where Leviathan is. Okay. So Jay, hey, welcome Jay, welcome E. Carter, Chanelli. Okay, Patrick, welcome. And Ja. Okay, there's Ja and there's Jay. Welcome. Okay. So look at this cartoon, and then I'm going to show you what I found in the desert Southwest before we get started. All right, let's go for it. Okay, so she has the crystal around her neck. Again, these artifacts hunters, look at this. For all the people telling you that Atlantis was not a stone civilization that used stone technology, for all people telling you that Stone Age people were a bunch of dumb idiots, in the cartoon, in both cartoons, the Atlantean civilization were Stone Age technologists. Okay, so she has the crystal around her neck, and the ancestors are in the stone. Okay, this guy is an artifacts hunter. He goes around the world finding artifacts and killing the people and selling off the artifacts on the black market, right? So watch this. He kicks a stone into the water that activates the ancestors, but activates the ancestors to destroy. That's why they're glowing red, right? Okay, now watch this. The ancestors picked up the Kida, Makida, the Kida. She has the crystals and they hypnotize her. Okay, this is the Sheba bloodline, black skin with white hair. Okay, the house of Kasambura. Okay, now watch this. She's hypnotized. How many times have you heard people go into the desert and they get hypnotized? Okay, all of this is underwater. You see where all those stones are? They're all underwater. Okay, she's under hypnosis of the stones. Now she's going to be walking. Watch this. Okay, her eyes start glowing. Okay, remember I told you when we went into the desert Southwest, they woke up and their eyes started glowing. Now watch this. She's walking on water. Okay, then she goes under the stone. Now this is what I want you to watch. Watch this. These are the ancestors whose eyes glow. When we do the tour, boom, this is what I want you to see. Okay, so she's going to be walking under the stone. And when the stones, you look down into the water, pay attention, sons of Brahmana, watch this. The stone open up like a flower. Does everyone see that the stones are opening up like a flower, even like a face? Does everyone see that in the cartoons? In the cartoon? Say yes if you see this. Connor, thank you. Welcome, Connor. Anybody else? E. Carter, thank you. And remember, we engage each other here, right? Jessica, Jennifer, yes, yes, wonderful. Now, everyone say, Renetta, why is it? Why is this important? Chanelli, Patrick, Leilani, Sarah, sons of Brahmana, Priskam, thank you. Everyone say, Renetta, why? Now ask me, why is this important? Why are you stuck on these mountains? Why do you believe that the mountains have writings on them? Now, Renetta, just ask me, just say, why, Renetta? Thank you, Jay. Thank you, E. Carter. I'm going to answer you why, okay? This is the second photo. Now, this is a shot. This is the shot of Kida walking into the stones of the ancestors, okay? This is a picture I took in the desert Southwest. Does everyone see this? Thank you, Jay. You see it. Yes, Connor, the flower of life. Only 2 people see this? Sons, you see it. Does anyone else see this? Do you want a side-by-side of the cartoon and the stones that I took a picture of? Okay, let's give you a side-by-side. Operations, welcome. I took this photo and I know where it's located. Okay, so how do we have 2 cartoons? We have 2 cartoons, one depicting a door with an actual photo, the cartoon door, and an actual photo, and they look exactly alike, and the cartoon says that Atlantis is behind a door like that. Next, we have in a cartoon the ancient stones forming a lotus flower, thank you, Sherry, and me taking an actual face of a female stones in a circle that looks exactly like the cartoon. Yes, Chanelli, that's a female face facing right in the stones. Yes, I took the photo. I saw the stones with my own 2 eyes. And in the cartoon, it's the female that must walk. Watch this. The reason why the actual stones have a female face is because it's a female who must walk into the stone. Watch this. Her mother walked into the stone, you see? And she walked into the stone. It's a female with specific genetics who activates the stones. Anyone telling you, Jay, these stones are so huge. It's either they had machines to pick up these stones or they were titans. And this is why you must break the hypnosis of the 6,000-year lie. You must break the lying Elohim 6,000-year hypnosis that the earth is 6,000 years. These stones are so huge, you either need machinery to pick it up, anti-gravity to pick it up, or a titan to pick it up, right? Let's get started. I wanted to start off with those 2 before we go into Titan. This is a Bigfoot. A Bigfoot is of the primate race. Remember, tonight is Atlantean gods and guardians. Bigfoot would be a guardian. Okay? And Bigfoot would be considered a primate. Okay? So this guardian is at the entrance to a canyon. We're dealing with Atlantean gods and guardians. Right? So, does anyone know what god the Bigfoot or guardian the Bigfoot would be from? Okay? This is one of the guardians we're going to see, and I don't believe Bigfoot is a god. I believe Bigfoot is a guardian of the gates, because this guardian is on a pyramid at the entrance of a canyon. Okay? The second guardian we're going to look at is I have to do the markup so that you guys can see. Okay. Do you guys see the bird? Do you guys see the white bearded man and the woman with the big hair and her daughters? Okay. And the gray alien who looks like he's wearing a pirate's hat. Let's make it bigger. You guys see him. This is carved. This is a tower. I took this shot. Is anyone saying that I'm making any of this up? Bigfoot would be a guardian of Atlantis. Yeti, the guardians of Shambhala. Thank you, Connor. The guardians of knowledge. Okay? Okay, so he's saying Belial is one of the Atlantean quartet, Belial, Lucifer, Hecate, and Sephiroth. I do not buy Jewish nonsense. I do not believe the Atlanteans were evil. I believe the Atlanteans were infiltrated by evil. But that's my opinion. But Operation, I welcome your opinion. But I do not believe the Atlanteans were evil. I believe they got infiltrated so that they could destroy them from within. All right, let's get to the second photo. Here we see the blue-gray alien wearing a cape, but I welcome the knowledge, Operation. I welcome the knowledge. Okay, in order for you to understand the ancient world, you must decompress from the Jewish religious construct that took over the planet, that the planet is 6,000 years. It's a lie. That all of the ancients were cannibals. More lies. I am showing you what the ancient left in stone, which disproves that they were cannibals eating humans. You can't build a civilization where the people of the civilization are eating their own citizens. You understand what I'm saying? Okay, all right, so these are towers. Look at these, look at the height of these towers. This is what's carved into a mountain in West Texas where I live. Here you see the blue-gray alien. Does everyone see him? But I welcome, okay, Operation Crossroads, my apologies, I apologize. Sorry, I misunderstood, sorry. Okay, here we see the blue-gray alien. Okay, here we see the stalk. Does everyone, Operation, I hope you accept my apology, I misunderstood. Okay, does everyone see the bird? Does everyone see the bird? Press 1 if you see the bird. Thank you, Connor. What do the bird? Who is the bird? Yes, Jerry on the far right, those are towers, but this is an ancient carving that's carved and lasered into the mountains where I live. And when we do the excursion, I'm going to bring people here to see this, right? Okay, now who represents the bird? Here we see the winged bird bringing in this man with the white beard and this woman with the big hair and her 2 daughters. Thoth! Thank you, Connor. Thoth, Darvantri. The bird is also, who else? Who's the female aspect of the bird? So Thoth is the male, and the female aspect of the bird is Isis, right? Right here, carved in a mountain. You don't believe me? This is a mountain? Okay, this is a water tank down here. Yeah, because it's millions of years old. It's millions of years old and it's faded. Sishat. Okay? Sishat. So I had to do a lot of contrasting so you guys could see the image. But when you go, you can see it clear as day. The best time to see this is in the evening. Okay, if the ancient world were primitive, who the hell put this on the side of a mountain? People, this is a communications towers. Communications towers are 80 to over 100 feet. This painting on the side of the mountain is about 4 of these, 3 or 4 communications towers tall. Jerry, you got to take a photo. You following? This mountain is 3 or 4 communications towers tall. So how big is this thing? And what painted this on the side of a mountain 3 to 400 feet high? Let's continue. And this depicts the dog star. Does anyone know who came from the dog star? Yes, Swift. Thank you, Jay. Thank you, Jerry. Dog star. Who came from the dog star? Atlantis, gods, and guardians. Okay, let's get to the other one. Hold on. Okay, let's take a look at this one. The problem with this one is a little bit dark, so let's go to this one. Does everyone see the horned man? The man who represents the goat head. This is his shoulder. This is his horns. This is his face, and he has gap teeth. This is his teeth. He has gap, like me, gap in his teeth. And this is his other set of teeth. Do you see him? I took this shot. He has gap teeth like me. Okay? Khnum. Yes. The Egyptian deity Khnum. Okay? The horned deity. Wait, hold on. What is an Egyptian deity? And this is the same Khnum as depicted in West Africa. This is how they depicted him in West Africa. A male's face with ram's horns. This is how the Egyptians depicted him. What is he doing? Carved into the rocks in the desert southwest. I took the photo. And here you see in the rocks his teeth. He's gap-toothed, or he has a gap teeth. This is his teeth, then he has a gap, and then this is his other teeth. These are his eyes. And this is his ram's horn. These are his shoulders. I took this shot. Angel, welcome. Gina Vices, Tennessee. You got it, Tennessee. I hope you're doing well. We started off with Bigfoot. Swift, welcome. He looks content. Isis, thank you, Connor. Isis came from the dog star. You got it. Now, what is Isis and Osiris doing carved into a mountain in West Texas? Okay, let's continue. Okay, I was trying to figure out, I took this shot. I took this shot with my own camera. And this is a mountain that looks like a pyramid in the distance with 2 pyramids next to it. What's peculiar about this mountain is that north, south, east, and west, you see what looks like eyes. So no matter what direction you're driving, you see eyes. It wasn't until I posted it on Facebook that Sherry said, "Oh my God, Renetta, that's a spider." Does anyone know the name of the spider god? I'm not yelling at you. You know I get excited. Jay, I think so too. I think so too. And boy, do I have stories. We're just not going to talk about the stories today, but we're going to talk about Arachne. Yes, Arachne is her Greek name. Does anyone know her Celtic name? Does anyone know her African name? Does everyone know her Native American name? Does anyone know her Egyptian name, which is African, but the Africans have different names for her? Does anyone know her Babylonian Sepharans, Illyrian? Okay, what else? Come on, Operation, you got this one. Does anyone know her Egyptian name? Okay. The West Africans call her Lilith. That's what the Jews call her. Anansi. That's what the West Africans call her. The Native Americans in the desert Southwest call her the Great Mother Goddess. The Native Americans in the Mexico call her the Great Mother. Gede, Zarayain. I've never heard of that one. Gede. Okay. Neith. That's what the Egyptians call her. You can thank Sherry for calling out for saying, hey, this looks like a spider. Does anyone know what the Babylonians and Sumerians call her? The Babylonian spider, the creator, the one who spins the web, creating the universe. Utu. Does anyone know what the Celtics call her? Jay, I am showing you the Navajo call her Spider Woman. Yes, Jay, I am showing you their bases. You tell me. Everyone, Jay is asking, did these beings actually exist in real life before? And I'm showing you, if they didn't exist, why I'm showing you their carvings. If they did not exist, why am I showing you their carvings? Who would take the time to carve something or build something that didn't exist? What did the Celts call the ancient spider, the weaver of the universe? You're welcome, Jay. Thank you, Connor. Okay. Ariane Rod. What did the Hindus call the great spider, the weaver of the universe, the one who created the universe? The ones who the elite, the rulers of earth worship. What did they call her? All right, so that's the spider. Okay, this one, I can't figure out what this creature is. Okay, this one right here. This is the eye, this is the eye. He has a broad nose, and this is his mouth. This is the guardian of this mountain. Hi, Sissy. Ariadne. Thank you. Hey, wait, hold on. So how is it the Africans, west, north, east, and south, speak of a spider goddess? The Sumerians and Babylonians speak of a spider goddess. The Greeks speak of a spider goddess. The Romans speak of a spider goddess. The Celtics speak of a spider goddess. The Native Americans speak of a spider goddess. But she doesn't exist? Jay, what you have to go look into is what they call mythology. But it's not mythology, it's actually facts. So what you got to go look into is you got to break away from the Bible and go look into what they call mythology. Any books relating to mythology of peoples worldwide. Okay? Okay? So mythology. So this is why I'm trying to anti-gram. So they program you guys, and I'm trying to anti-gram you guys. Okay? So in order for you to understand the reality that these entities existed, some were considered gods, some were considered guardians. Like the great Jordan Maxwell taught us, he said, it's not the zodiac that runs the earth, it's the zodiac Jordan Maxwell. Remember him? He said Earth is run by a zodiac, not zodiac. Okay? Right. So I can't think of what this guardian is. This is his mountain and his pyramid. Okay? And when we do the excursion, you will go to these actual mountains and you will see it. Yeah, Jordan Maxwell was amazing. Okay, now this is the temple, an ancient temple that's about 130 million years. And the temple looks like a primate who has human features. Does anyone know the god who is part monkey, part human? Hanuman. Hanuman. Okay, wait, whoa, 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 whoa. Wait, hold on. What the hell is a temple to Hanuman doing on the border of the United States and Mexico? Okay? Why is there a temple 130 million years ago doing on the border of the United States and Mexico? Jordan Maxwell told us it is not the zodiac that runs the planet. It is the zodiac that runs the planet. By the way, I took this photo. Now this one, I might have to mark this one up so you can see. Okay, this is the mountain. The actual position the mountain should be in is like this. Okay, it's like this. But I noticed that the mountain had a giant eye. I was like, wait, hold on. What the heck? What? Why does this mountain have a giant eye? And I'm sorry, it was hazy that day. So that's why the photo came out like this, okay? I was taking a picture in a far off distance and it was really hazy. You could see it, right? Watch this. Do you see the eye? Why does this mountain have a horn? And we're going to bring up this mountain in part 2. Does anyone know the ancient horned god that has a horn where his third eye is? Does anyone know the creature that has the high-ranking creature who has a horn where his third eye is? Take a wild guess. America. And why is it that we have here all of these symbols? Shiva. Okay, great. Who else? Cyclops. You got it. Who else? There's another one. Credo Mutua spoke about them, the one with the horns. He said the one with the horns are the kings. Credo Mutua. Credo Mutua. I'm going to be bringing you guys in. No one remembers? Credo Mutua said the highest ranking of this group, they have horns. And that horns, the Chitauri Preskam, the Chitauri. No, Credo Mutua was not CIA. That's what they, because he exposed the secrets of the Chitauri, they attacked him. No. If he was CIA, why would he die poor and penniless, right? Okay, we did this one. This one is the lion-headed one. You cannot become a king without being crowned by the feline races, in particular the lion. Does anyone know who the lion-headed god is? Yes, Patrick, you got it right. It's the females. And there was a rebellion on earth, the Lion King. Okay, now what's the name of the lion-headed gods? Sekhmet. Yes. Sekhmet, the lion-headed god. Whoa, wait, hold on. Whoa. Whoa. What is Sekhmet doing? Well, Sekhmet is female. This is the male counterpart because we could tell from the lion's mane that this is a male. But what is a lion-headed god doing? Tefnut. What is a lion-headed god doing carved into a mountain in Texas? Why is there Hanuman in Texas? Why is there Chitauri in Texas? Okay. Why is there what's his name? The bird. Damn, they're blacking out my brain. The bird, the winged bird Isis, and Source the Atlantean doing carved into a mountain in Texas. Okay, here is another shot of the lion-headed god. Mais is the lion-headed god. Okay, I'm going to move fast because I want to bring you guys in. Okay, I'm going to mark this one up. Let's adjust it for the brightness. Does everyone see the cranium here of two primates? Look here, the brain here of two primates. Why is there two primates, which is a baboon chimpanzee, looking like humans carved into a mountain in Texas? Thank you, Jay. That's where I'm going with this. That's precisely where I'm going with this. And the 6,000-year lie. Okay. Does everyone know the god of the Dogon? Hey, ABS, welcome. Does anyone know the name of the god of the Dogon? The Dogon were the priests of Egypt. Does anyone know? It starts with an M, N as in Nancy, N. The dolphin, the Nomo. Okay, let's look at the Dogon. Look at this. Look at this. I'm looking for it here. Hold on. Okay. Watch this. This is the Dogon headdress. Does everyone see the Dogon headdress? This is the Dogon headdress. This is a mountain in Texas. This is the two eyes. Why is there a Nomo carved into a mountain in Texas? Let me put them side by side. Because Texas was where the gods lived. Do you see it? Do you see the normal headdress? Yes, Patrick. Pangea. Do you see the normal headdress with the googly eyes? Here's the googly eyes, and here's the normal crown. Let's continue. Do you guys see the normal in this picture? This is the normal on the right with the googly eyes. Googly eyes. And this is the normal carved into a mountain in the desert Southwest with the big googly eyes. Why is there a mountain depicting the normal in the desert Southwest in Texas? Okay, we could pass that one. Now look at this one. Do you see his face? And then I'm going to bring Connor in. Do you guys see this? This is a mountain. Wait, hold on. Why does this mountain have an eyes? Why does this mountain have nose? Why does this mountain have lips and a pointed chin? Watch the movie title, I Will. Zuri, welcome. It's possibly Saturn. That's a face. That is a mountain. That's about 800 meters. Okay, now I'm going to bring in Connor and Sherry. I'm going to mute. Connor, okay, make sure your background is not too noisy. Okay, so Connor
Okay.
and Sherry, welcome. Connor, start us off by telling us about some of the gods and the guardians, not just gods, but guardians, and what does this have to do with Atlantis in the desert Southwest as one of the places.
Okay, well, first of all, one thing. So, yeah. So, I mentioned earlier that the Yeti are the guardians to Shambhala. So, that's a Buddhist kingdom where if you reach enlightenment, you will have eternal peace. Now, the Shambhala is ruled by kings that live for thousands of years. So, they're called God kings. And Yeti are beings created to protect Shambhala from those who are not worthy. So you hear in India, for example, or Nepal, you hear attacks of Yeti attacking people. That's because they're not worthy of achieving Shambhala. Bigfoot is the guardian of Atlantis. So there are several guardians. I'm just going to say there are like all across the world. There are like a lot of guardians, okay? And there are a lot of gods, lowercase g. So, but first of all, the first god that we mentioned, you mentioned lion-headed gods. Well, lucky for you, I have something to share with everybody. So, Maz was the son of the creator god Ptah and Sekhmet. He is a lion-headed god. But there's also another lion-headed god in Egyptian culture, and she is called Tefnut. Now, she is the grand. Hold on. She is the grandmother of Osiris and Isis. Tefnut. That's Maz. He's the son of Ptah and Sekhmet. Now he is the god of war. He is the god. He is. Hold on 1 second. Okay, yeah. He is just the god of war. So he's an associated with war, but also he's an associated with protection and weather. So he's the god of war, protection, and weather. People used to wear him for protection. So Let's look at Sekhmet, for example. Now, she is a solar deity. She is the eye of Ra when he's angry. Sekhmet is the eye of Ra. So, for example, so when Ra was angry at the human race, Ra sent out a fiery eye and it created Sekhmet. Now, she is the daughter of Ra. Ra was so displeased with the people that he sent his anger. So it's like she breathed fire, hot winds into the desert. She is the goddess of destruction. She is the goddess of plagues. She was the alternate, like an opposite of Ra. Harther, her sister Harther, the daughter of Ra, is another eye of Ra who is good. Sekhmet is evil. So, but she brought unbelievable chaos towards the people. So, this is what happened. Sekhmet destroyed mortals and conspired against Ra. Sekhmet's bloodlust was quenched at the end of the battle, so there was a war again. Another motif regarding the war. To stop her, Ra realized his mistake. Ra and the other gods devised a plan. So they put out a lake of blood, a beer dyed with red ochre that resembled blood. So she drank it. She became so drunk, she gave up the slaughter and returned peacefully to Ra. But when she was gone and exiled, her son diminished. So they brought her back. And there she became good. So she is associated. There's a festival at the beginning of the year. So this is like their new year. A festival in intoxication. So what they did, they used to soothe the wilderness of the goddess and drink great quantities of beer to imitate her to stop the wrath when she almost destroyed humanity. So when she drank that, she calmed down and brought the sun in the form of Ra to her people. Her worship, Sekhmet, she was one of the most important gods in Egyptian history. She was the daughter of Ra, Atum Ra. Atum created the world through, don't laugh, masturbation. Atum created the world through masturbation. And therefore he created his children, the gods. And so this is, again, Rianetta and I did a podcast on this, the ancestry of the kings. So the true ancestry. Sekhmet was so powerful. She was actually the most powerful goddess in Egyptian history. One of the most important.
Connor, can you talk about this serpent-headed one? This is a base that we found with a giant head here, and all of these are rocks going down a mountain about 200 feet, maybe even more than 200 feet, might be 300 feet. And this
Sure thing.
reminds me of a serpent. So what god is this one? And then I'm going to bring in Sherry. Kukulkan. Why would you say this is Kukulkan? This is in Texas.
Kukulkan brought knowledge. He is the son of the creator god. Kukulkan was against the other god's decision not to part knowledge to humanity. So Kukulkan is like Enki. He parted knowledge to the human population, and so he gave them alchemy. He gave them the knowledge to build pyramids. He gave them knowledge to build statues. He gave everything to do. And now there were 13 original gods in Mayan history. 13 before they added multiple. And you hear this motif 13, 13, like the 12, but 13, 13. There's always 13 original gods before the 9 and the 12, but the original motif was 13 gods. 13 gods.
And that goes back to, and this goes back to the original 12 tribes were not a bunch of
Exactly.
Hebrew Israelites. The original 12 tribes were the 12 tribes of earth plus the God who created them.
Exactly. And that God, his name was Aten, the father of Akhenaten. Aten, the true God. Aten is the true God. Aten and his other children, who were the gods who took different names across the planet, but Aten is the true God. He is the one who created. Aten is the true God. Aten was the original worship before it became corrupted by the Jews. I blame everything on the Jews. Don't laugh. Don't tell anybody. But Aten was the God who brought monotheism. He was the God who created Akhenaten, because Akhenaten was his vessel. He was his avatar. Does anyone know what an avatar is? Press 1 if you're following. So if you know, Rama is the avatar of Vishnu. Shiva had avatars. Brahma had avatars. You following here?
Yeah, the avatars are like
Avatars.
sleeves. You know, it's like a mold where the spirit of an ancient can come and dwell in and then bring it to life.
It's
Yeah.
like a vessel. So like the spirit and the power of that God is within you if you are a chosen avatar. So if you're chosen, you immediately inherit the powers of that particular spirit or God. Or if a guardian wants to make you his avatar or her, you inherit the powers of the spirit.
And you do so through DNA.
Yes.
Yeah, the DNA have to match because otherwise the person goes crazy. Mm-hmm.
Also, the reason why they choose royals and descendants of royalty of the House of Kazambura is because of their bloodline. They don't choose people like from ordinary form. They choose someone who's of direct lineage.
Because they have to be able to hold the DNA without going crazy.
Exactly, yes.
And
Exactly.
hold, and not to cut you off, Connor, they have to hold, you're looking at millions of years of knowledge that's passed down. They have to be able to hold that knowledge in their body without going insane. Sorry, Connor, go ahead. And then we're going to bring Sherry in. Go ahead.
All right, but I don't want to bring me self, but because, well, my ancestor was Akhenaten, so he had that physical power of Aten, for example. So all the kings, all the rulers are 100% related. Do not follow the other bullshit of today. All the kings are direct descendants of these gods, and also the Egyptians had their say. Again, world culture. When a monarch dies, the incarnation will go to the next monarch, and so on and so on and so on. It started with Osiris, and it continued on. All the monarchs are 100% related. All the gods that they descend from are related. They had special DNA, they had power within them. So the reason why all these gods, they have particular authority. So again, they were giant. They were taller than they were. They had more elongated heads than they were. And again, they have immortality. They have special gifts, yes, but they also chose avatars to carry on their messages. So they're like their messengers.
And that's
So
the part too.
yeah. So that I'm gonna leave it at there for now, and let's bring Sherry in.
Sherry, come on in. Connor, stay right there. Sherry, tell us about what you know. Unmute your mic. Sherry, can you hear me? Oh, she stepped away.
Yeah, okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, welcome. Sherry, introduce us to
Yeah.
the knowledge you know about the desert Southwest, the culture, the gods, and any of the pictures I showed you. Go ahead.
Well, my studies was in the northeastern part of the United States with the mound builders. But I'd started off looking at the ancient history of the Atlanteans, the motherland of Mu, the Lemurians, and I was trying to follow their symbols to see if those people actually migrated into the United States. Well, my studies led me to Churchwood, and read his books and found more symbols. And then I actually joined the Friends of Serpent Mounds and started studying the mounds around Ohio, and got into a group of Sioux chiefs that would come to some of the celebrations, and they would tell us some of the stories, ancient stories of the Indians. So from the Indian legends is how I will interface your um, with your findings out there in Texas. And the Indians say that they actually came from the Atlanteans, that they are the descendants of the Atlantean culture. And they said they used to be very tall. And if you would go to Savannah, Georgia, for example, and go on one of the historian tours, they say John Smith, when he landed there, that they met these giant Indians that were 7 feet tall, that they were much taller than the white men that were coming over from Europe at that particular time. And I also read the diaries of Coronado, who went through the desert Southwest doing discoveries, and they found that the ancient Indians had these huge wooden homes that they built that would house like maybe 200 people, and they were like 7 feet plus tall. And they said they were beautifully shaped, they were beautiful in appearance, and that they were very intelligent. They were more intelligent than the Spanish conquistadors who were mapping out this land. Okay, but let's go back to the mounds. Because when I studied under Richard Barnhouse, he was actually able to decipher the petroglyphs of the Indians here in the Northeast. And one thing I've been looking for was a great grandmother spider. So I've been searching for her for probably 15 years, looking at the folklore and studying the mythology that she spun the universe and her webs held the universe together, and that she was a great creator. When I saw in one of your videos that mountain, her face popped in my brain immediately. I could see the spider. So when I saw the Spider Woman there, then I knew that those legends were then seated in my mind as true, because the artists usually only create what they see or they know. So there she was, and then I've heard your other stories about the spiders. But then going back to the pyramids and Thoth and some of these gods, um, I studied the 12th planet and the pyramid wars. So the Great Pyramid of Giza, had these special stones, and they believed that there was an ancient culture, outer space culture coming in. There were different alien groups coming to the Earth, and they had created these ancients that came here a 500,000 years ago. They had to first resolve the ice age that was going on, because the complete planet was in ice. And I believe that comes from your presentations from an ancient war that took place on this earth, and the nuclear bombs that went off, threw the environment off and threw it into an ice age. So once they got this ice age done and they started clamping down in this region, there was a massive building project going on that even was pre-flood, because these pyramids actually go pre-flood. They found, the fossils along the Sphinx, up under the Sphinx. So they know the Sphinx and the pyramid in Giza were covered by water at one time, which takes us back pre-flood, which is still in your time zone. So once they got the flood, but before that, they had created a worldwide energy system, a natural energy system that's used with rocks, these pyramids, these monoliths, and each one of the mounds in Ohio. There was over 10,000 around this eastern part of the Mississippi. Um, they had a capstone, or they had some kind of special energy stone in them. And it created this worldwide electrical grid that these people could tap into. And some of the points were so strong that they could actually use them as portals. So now we're getting into the portals. And what you're seeing with this cave system, they could go to certain spots around the world and they didn't have to travel. They could do astral travel through these portal systems, where they would actually do astral travel out of their bodies into the different areas. So, that gave them free travel around the world. So, which is really interesting that you're actually finding the proof of these things that, that had existed. So, do you have any questions up to this point?
Okay, so what was the knowledge about the spider you received, and what was the name of the spider? And then Connor, you can answer after she answers. Go for it.
Well, they called her the great grandmother spider, and they've got her symbols carved in some of the stone and into their handicrafts, and it's in their legends. So, that's why they called her was the great grandmother spider, who wove the universe together. She's what kept everything in order, and she was all intelligent. So they didn't really explain too much more. That's why I was very interested in what you had found, to give it even a little bit more credence. So I'm still kind of honing down on her and her part in this history, this whole story that we're unraveling.
Wonderful. And Connor, what do you have to say about the spider? And then we'll move on to the thunderbird, which is here in Texas as well.
Okay, so there could be multiple different names, but I have to say she could be Ninth, the Egyptian goddess of Weaver, but she's also the Egyptian goddess of creation. So bear in mind with that. Neith was also the mother of Apophis and Ra. Think about that for a second. Press 1 if you're following. Neith was the mother of Apophis and Ra. To the Mesopotamian, she is known as Inanna as well. But there are multiple different names across these multiple through different names, you know what I mean. But I have to say she could be Neith. Because she is also associated with spiders, and she is the spinner of the world. So again, she's the goddess of creation. So yeah, I say she is Neith, the goddess of creation, destiny, and spiders, and the weaver.
Wonderful. Now here we have the photo of the thunderbird. This is in Texas again. And I'm like, why are we finding all of the ancient gods in Texas, right? So, Sherry, tell us about what the thunderbird, if you know anything about the thunderbird. First of all, can you see the thunderbird? And number two, tell us what can you tell us about the thunderbird and its meaning? And then Connor will go next. Go ahead.
Well, the thunderbird, we found a nest of a thunderbird over in Serpent Mounds. And okay, when we go into the Serpent Mounds, I'm going to go into the story of what happens there, because the Serpent Mounds is located in Peebles, Ohio, and it's a great big snake-like petroglyph that's made out. It's an earthen petroglyph, and it has a lot of significance. The U shapes are the clocks, but the Thunderbird is that shows up on the days of celebration, and the celebrations always fall on either the solstice or the equinox. Now, this is when the story gets really bizarre, and because it's something that it's hard for us to absorb this information, but the Indians believed that they could take a soul and put it in a rock or a stone, but it wasn't any just normal rock or stone. They would actually carve rocks into certain shapes, and they would have eyes and mouths on them. And they had two societies. They had a ghost society and an egg society. And the Serpent Mounds displays the egg society with the altar that was in the mouth that was symbolized as an egg. Well, that egg is rebirth. Well, there was an altar in there that was, of course, torn out and thrown over the hillside. But at those altars, the Indians knew where the ley lines were and where the energy points would come in. So one point of the altar, there was an energy that came straight into that altar, and all the other side of the altar, the energy would go out and straight back up into the heavens. Well, when you're dying, the ghost society would come in, and they take the person who's dying, and they would try to treat them and bring them back to life. But if they couldn't, they would call in the egg society, and the egg priest were there. And the egg priest, then, when a person died, they would guide the soul into these soul eggs. And my belief is they did it through fire and smoke and water. So anyway, however they did it, they would guide the soul into the stone, which was set aside so they could take it to a ceremony where the priest would be, during that time of celebration, they would take these stones and put them on the altar. And the super priests were there. When you were studying to be a shaman back then, or a priest, you didn't just go in and become a priest overnight. It took years and years to become a priest. And there are 4 levels of priest. And the 4th level then were the ones who had the ability to remain or guide. They would be there at these celebrations. And when the shadow of the setting sun would cross over these egg stones that were placed on this altar, it would release those souls, and the super priest then would rise with the souls, and the Thunderbird would be there with them too, and they would go into heaven. And the Thunderbird would only allow the souls who were pure at heart to get into the level of heaven where their status would allow them to go. So the priests and the chiefs would go to the highest level, and the super braves, would the next level, and so forth. So the Thunderbird was a guardian of the spirits, according to the ancient legends of the Indians. So I hope that answers some of your questions.
That is a beautiful explanation. Now, Connor, tell us about the Thunderbird, which I believe is the Roman eagle, I believe, which the Romans got from the Egyptians and the Greeks. Tell us about the knowledge of the Thunderbird, or the bird god that allows people to travel to the netherworld, and then they go through the judgment and then they ascend. What do you know about this?
Well, first of all, the Thunderbird is a source of protection, so it guides the soul easily into the heavens. In Native American history, it's also associated with terror. So when this thing descends, everyone was so frightened because of its supernatural power and strength. It can actually create thunder by flapping its wings, lightning by flashing its eyes everywhere. So they're depicted as birds of prey. So when a Native American sees like a bird, for example, they stop and worship because they thought all birds were representations of the Thunderbird. The Thunderbird is also a source of where people go into the heavens. So and again, saying this, it's not just associated with Native Americans. It's associated with the Hindus as well, Garuda. And I'll get to Garuda in a second, but Thunderbirds and Native American, they believe they are the source of the gods. They are the source of where you can go to the netherworld. They are the source of protection. The reason why, if there's a threat or an invasion, they rely on the Thunderbird because of his thunderous descent of fear. So the Thunderbird is sacred to many Native Americans, and including other cultures. There's also a Chinese god, Legong. He is another Thunderbird god. He is associated. He's associated with the Chinese faith of Taoism. Now, if you don't know what Taoism means, it is the way of the Tao. So there are a number of gods in Taoism, but we won't get to that today. But Legong uses a drum and a mallet to produce thunder, and he punishes evildoers. He punishes secret crimes and evil spirits. So he's another protective deity. His wife is Dynamo, who is the goddess of light. So Legong, the Thunderbird, Chinese version of the Thunderbird, he protects people like the Native Americans. Now, the Hindu Garuda is who I want to get to. He is another one who is associated with protection, lightning, fire, fury, and drive. When he's first created in the Mahabharata, if you haven't read it, I suggest you read it. Get a book on it. He is created out from an egg. When he burst from the egg, he appeared as a raging inferno, brighter than 1,500 suns, and he descends upon the earth in fire, blaze, and anger. Frightened, the gods plead for mercy, like, please, calm down here. Garuda, he reduced himself in size of energy, and he allowed only certain gods to ride upon him. He eats serpents for energy. Why do you think there's an eagle and a serpent, or there's an eagle eating the serpent on the Mexican flag? It is the same motif. He only allowed certain gods to ride upon him. He is the god. He is also a Thunderbird. He is the god of thunder and lightning. But he is way large. He can block out the sun when he descends. When he's pissed, he descends from the sky in fire and thunder and lightning and anger. He would destroy anybody in his path and absolutely annihilate them. Annihilate. So that's why I say that Thunderbirds are so significant. And I would say, always do your research. The Thunderbirds descend from pterodactyl. They descend from the dinosaurs. They have the power. They have absolute power to destroy their enemies. So I say, if you're walking through the desert and if you are threatened, call upon the Thunderbird. He will protect you. He is the source of protection. He is the absolute source of protection.
Thank you for that. So now here we go to a Titan turtle. And as we know, the Americas, North America, Canada, and the United States was named after the turtle. Let's start with Connor first and then Sherry second. What can you tell us about the turtle motif? And I was told, I can't remember who told me this, but there is a galactic turtle that the spider fears. So Jordan Maxwell was right when he said it's a zodiac that runs Earth. So Connor, you go first. Number one, yes or no, do you see the turtle? And two, what can you tell us about the turtle motif as a god or a guardian across the earth?
I would say he would be both. So turtle gods are a source of guardianship and divine. There are a number of turtle gods. For example, Kurma is a turtle god, and he is the avatar of Vishnu, the second avatar of Vishnu. He is a giant turtle that carries the weight of the world on its back. He carries the world on his back. There's another one, the Vietnamese. Kim Quy is a golden turtle god. He gives a golden claw to the early Vietnamese ruler and he allows to kill 300 enemies with one shot. Another turtle in Hinduism is Akupada. He is another turtle that supports the earth. And in indigenous people in the northeastern woodlands, they believe in a world tutor and a turtle that carries the world on upon him. Also in Polynesia, when a goddess descended from the sky, a giant turtle was there to catch her in Polynesia. So the symbol of a turtle god, turtles are also another source of preservation, protection, and the preservation of creation as well. There is a Hawaiian goddess, Kukia. She is a turtle goddess who would transform as a human girl to play and serve as a protector of children along the shore of Punaluu. Again, a source of protection. So turtles are very, very important. So they have very important significance. Again, Japanese turtle, one of the 7 lucky gods. Another source of protection. So you have these turtle gods, a source of guardianship, and endowed with divine power. So I call them god guardians. Again, the Egyptians called their gods as well as guardians of the sky. So they were also guardians. So the reason why I say that they are both is because turtles are also a source of creation and they're also a source of preservation and protection. So I say turtles are both a source of protection and preservation. Those are the most important symbols and allegories in our cultures, in ancient cultures in particular. It's worldwide. You cannot debunk this. There's all kinds of turtle gods. There's all kinds of them, and you can't even denounce this. And even archaeologists will say, "Oh, it's just a symbol." Yeah. Well, I tell you, it's not a symbol. It's an actual representation of creation and protection.
Thank you so much, Con. I think this is just fascinating. I'm going to have you guys on here for part two. Wait till you see part two. Sherry, go for it.
Okay, well, on the Indian side, what I learned was um, their legends go back to in the beginning, there was nothing here but water. And all of a sudden, out of the depths of the water rose this great turtle. And this turtle rose and became the great turtle island, who's alive. So she is the one that we live on, and they live with her in harmony. And that's why they like to sleep on the ground and run barefoot and like to let their hair grow long, because the long hair then reaches into her soul and guides them spiritually. So if you look at the Indians, they will have like turtle carvings. Um, They'll have totem poles with turtles on them. Totem poles were very important for the Indians too. Back to the Thunderbird, they usually always had a Thunderbird on there. But the turtle, like Connor was saying, she's protection. She protects them. She gives them wisdom. She provides the healing herbs and the source of the trees. Everything ties into her shell. The roots of the trees. The streams flow over her. She keeps everything in balance within her domain, and her domain here is in North America. So that's what I learned. It's more about spirituality, protection, wisdom, intuition, and that's what the turtle brings to the Indians.
Wonderful. The next either god or guardian is the glowing eyed, and the glowing eyes are Atlantis, and the glowing eyes are Pharaoh. Does everyone, Connor and Sherry, do you see the glowing eyes on the wild boar here?
Oh,
I
yeah.
do, yes.
Wonderful. Do you guys see the wild boar here?
Yes.
Sherry, do you see the wild boar?
Yes, I do.
Wonderful. I can't figure out what animal this is. Okay, so Sherry, you go first. Tell us about, if you know anything about the significance of the wild boar. Is it a god? Is it a guardian? And what's the importance?
Then they never really talked about a wild boar. They talked about the water panther. So for the Indian side up here, I would have to throw this into the water panther category because of the eyes and the power that this panther, and they were afraid of the panther. So I'm going to have to kick it over to Connor about the boar.
Thank you for that. And that could be a desert southwest, either guardian or god. I can't figure out if it's a guardian or god. So it could be a desert southwest thing. Okay, go ahead, Connor. Go for it. Thank you.
Well, I'll tell you what god it is in form of Rhino Boar. Hindu god Vihara. He is the third avatar of Vishnu. Again, I mentioned avatar, representation, or prophet, as I like to call it. So he is depicted as a boar, or with the head of a boar and the body of a man. He is the god. He is a god. He is also, since he is a preservation of Vishnu, he's also a preserver god. So what happens is that his story. I'll tell you his little bit about his story. So he lifts the earth goddess Bhumi out of a cosmic ocean when the demon Hiranyishka stole the earth goddess and hid her in the primordial waters. Vishnu appeared as Vihara to rescue her. Vihara killed the demon and retrieved the earth goddess from the cosmic ocean. Now he is this. Now his weapon is associated with it's called the divine discus. So there are four hands of Vishnu. So he holds the conch, a mace, and a lotus flower. But it's no powerful weapon. So he is associated with protection. He is associated with of a destroyer of evil. That's who he is. And there's all kinds of wild boar. So the Roman goddess Diana considered a boar to be sacred and sent the Candolonian boar to destroy land. Isis considered the boar to be sacred. Again, Apis bull, boar, sacred mythology. Again, I should say sacred history. Again, the Scandinavian goddess Fira, the goddess of land, is associated with the worship and mark of the wild boar. Japanese, Kiromaharu, considered to be divine flight attendants, again, protector of and spirits and messengers of the gods. Bokas is considered to be revered as pigs and boars. So they also present bravery, they also present protection, and again, a lot of gods shapeshifted into animals to give messages to human beings. Again, so I wouldn't kill an animal because they may be talking to you. Again, don't kill any live animals. Just wait till until you know what I mean. But anyway, they are associated with protection. They are association of preservation. They're also associated with bravery, and they provided food for people. So they're very, very important. So again, going back to Apis bowls, before everything was the earth was created, there was a divine bull that gave life in Egyptian history. That is the Apis bull. Therefore, he created wild boars. When he created that. So, all animals in Egyptian, all over the world, they revered animals. To kill an animal was a grave sin, and therefore it was always punishable by death. So if you kill an animal in ancient times, if you killed a cat, you would be beheaded. If you killed any other creature, you would be executed. Animals are so sacred to the ancients. So sacred. And even Hindus, wonder why when they don't eat meat, is because the animals are sacred. The animals are sacred. And you wonder why. Where's meat in India? They're all living. They don't eat meat. It's a sin. It's a sin. In ancient Hinduism, it's a grave sin. If you kill an animal who is representing a particular deity, you would be executed. So, trust me, do not ever kill being if they approach you. They may be receiving messages to you. They may be protecting you for something. They may give you wisdom. They may give you protection. They may give you a number of interesting things. So don't kill anything if you encounter something. So that's my message and history of the wild boar god. So I would say the name of the wild boar god is Vahara.
Oh, wow. Okay, Connor, thank you for that. That was fascinating. Okay, so next we're going to start with Connor. Connor, you go first. Here is the last one. I believe this one is a guard, and we did a video on this because next to him is the pregnant woman spoken about in Revelation. Right? This one is a titan. He's about 10 miles in area. And it's a serpent. It's a hooded viper. What do we know about the viper gods?
Well, again, as I said, there's a number of gods. So there are a number of viper gods, and again, in actuality, they're poisonous. Don't get bitten, and I'm saying that's a fact. Again, so here's a number of snake gods. Enkinda, a Greek monster who has a upper body of a beautiful woman and the lower body of a snake. Her name means poisonous viper. She was a malevolent force that harmed men. So be careful, guys. Baku is an Egyptian snake god who originally considered evil, not like Apophis. He became a funerary god who judged the deceased. He's associated with the sun god Ra and believed to provide the deceased with Ka, which is your part of the soul, your soul that actually goes from the dead. So your Ba is the one who animates you. Your Ka is the one who goes to the other world. So your soul, your Ba is the animation. The Ka is your soul. A Mesopotamian god of snakes is called Isataran. Another snake god who is also depicted as a serpent. He is a tutelary deity of the city of Dare. Quetzalcoatl, another viper god. He is associated of fertility and a sea god who can bring floods. Again, Nagas in Hinduism. Vaskuki is a Hindu serpent king. Negahishka is a serpent god worshipped by the Sumerians, and Kora is a Celtic serpent goddess who is described as a dragon, demon, or devil mother. Now, Wadjet, snake god of Egypt, he is the protector of the pharaoh. Ranatuit is another protective deity of the pharaoh. Now, these are Egyptian. Nekabaku is a primeval snake god of creation. Apophis, the viper god, snake god of chaos, destruction, and death. Asclepius, Greek snake god of medicine. So again, snake gods, very important in ancient Egypt, in the world. Fertility, but also evil. Again, snake gods are very important for creation and evil, and also wisdom, mercy, and punishment as well. Very important. So I have to say this. Because of what the Abrahamic religions tell you, not all snakes are evil, okay? Not all snakes are evil. I do believe in God, but we'll leave that aside for now. But what I have to say to you all is to be aware. Snakes are also warning signs, protectors. Good, not all snakes are good or evil, but be wary when you encounter serpents. Be always wary, okay? So I have to say, again, they are the source of protection. They are the source of mercy and punishment, death and destruction, evil, medicine. So they're very significant. Again, what we're telling you then is that all civilizations, all faiths are connected to each other. They're all connected. Some religions later on became corrupted. That's my message to the world. And therefore, I also have to say, just be wary when you encounter serpents. Thank you.
Sherry, what can you tell us about the serpent, the role of the serpent in the origin stories of the natives in America?
Okay. Well, they call it the water panther, or the snake god, and they believed that there was this huge snake that would roam the land, and they could call it in, but it was a very powerful energy source. And there's stories written in the petroglyphs how they actually even were hunting this snake, this mythological snake. And at one time, they actually had captured it in one of the petroglyph stories. They captured the water panther, and they had it tied down, and they were trying to absorb the energy from it, but it broke away. But the Indians believed that it brought great power, but it also was, they were afraid of it. And at nighttime, if they would go on one of these spiritual journeys, they would they would at nighttime, when they were doing in their shaman trance or whatever they were going into, they would feel it come up around them, and they weren't allowed to open their eyes. They had to stand still, because some of these ancient gods would actually visit them at that point in time. Um, so that's really all I can tell you about it. They didn't really go in depth too much, but I read the story, and I know that they say that there's a water panther god that comes around the serpent mounds and goes through some of the water systems. is in it, but that's all I can kind of, information I can give you at this time about the serpent god.
And the serpent god was also the god before the Ethiopians became Hebrews and then became Christians. The serpent god, the Nehushtan or the Negusti or the Negos, was the god of the Ethiopians. So, and before Africa was colonized by Islam and Christianity, the god of the Africans was the great serpent, one of the major gods. There were many. So there is something to be said, and both parties can unmute your mic. If you don't have any background noise, there's something to be said about what Jordan Maxwell taught us and what Credo Mutua taught us. Connor, you can unmute your mic if there's no background noise. And they both taught us that it is not a zodiac that runs Earth, it is a zodiac that runs Earth. A zodiac, meaning that Earth was run by a pantheon of gods and guardians, and the gods were mixed with Titan DNA and part human, which bound them to the Earth. And then the guardians was what we call chimera. And
That's
sometimes,
correct,
yeah, and sometimes the god would be chimera. That is where we started off with the rammed god, the god with the rammed horn, has a human-looking face. They just totally erased my brain here. He has a kunum, thank you. He has a human face with rammed horns. And this is why we find, for example, we find zoomorphism in the Bible. Zoomorphism in the Bible is great, but when it comes to natives practicing zoomorphism in terms of their totems, it's called satanic. Well, in the Bible, the God of the Bible is also called the Lion of the tribe of Judah. That's zoomorphism and anthropomorphism. And at the same time, we find many of the gods with horns. If you look at the building of the so-called temple that never existed, on the temple you find horns. The horns of the temple, where did that come from? The Lion of the tribe of Judah, where did that come from? The Lord is my shepherd, which means your sheep.
That's right,
Where
yeah.
did that come from? Right? Go for it. Go for it. So Connor and Sherry, wrap it up. Tell us about, what do you think about this quest about the southwestern part of the United States being part of ancient Atlantis? And Sherry and Connor, tell us what you think. Go for it.
I'd say that they're all connected. Again, all of the continents were connected at one time. So there was a global culture. And again, before humanity was even created, extraterrestrials came to this planet for 170 million years. They've been on here genetically creating species and hybridization, that sort of thing. The reason why it's a global culture and the reason why they all visited everybody is because they all took on different names, but they're the same exact person. We're all finding the same exact God with so much power, with so much authority. We also learn that kings descend from these gods, so they have also power. We learned about what avatars are. They're the vessels of the gods. They have that authority. If you're chosen by specific bloodline and DNA from these gods, you have the authority to be their vessel or messenger or prophet or whatever you like to call it. But I'd say to you all that always keep an open mind. Always look at these monuments. Always look at the mountains afresh and start figuring it out with your own observations and let us know what you think. I'd say this is a worldwide culture pre-flood, antediluvian times, millions of years old, that we really need to go further and investigate with an open conscience. That's what I have to say.
Oh, I love that, Connor. And also, we can't look at these, we can't look at the ancient past from a religious lens, calling these people Nephilim. Oh, they made it with
Exactly.
gods under the suns and they fell from earth and they were running
Yep.
around eating everybody. That is not what the artifacts show us.
Exactly. We don't want to refer to them as Nephilim. Don't worry about that. I say worry about the Titans from millions of years ago before the Nephilim. Worry about the Nephilim who created. Worry about, no, I'm sorry, not the Nephilim. Worry about the Titans who created cultures. Worried about these Titans who built machinery and these
Bingo,
magnificent structures.
bingo, bingo. And if we put Titans, who are the forerunners to the Olympians, we begin to understand the mega structures on Earth and we begin to break the mold of the 6,000 year cycle. The 6,000 years old, the Earth is 6,000 years old. We have to break that. Sherry, tell us what you think about all of this. And can we say, from your understanding and your learning and your studies, was there an Atlantis in the desert Southwest?
Well, from I've been looking for what you're finding. I knew that if there was an ancient civilization, that they would carve their existence in the mountains. That there had to be carvings of the special people, the kings or their deities. It had to be there. Just like Mount Rushmore today. You come back a million years from now, we're going to leave our, marks in carved in the earth, and in the mountains is where you're going to find them. So what you're finding there gives proof that there was an ancient civilization here that's being covered up. Um, oh gosh, let me see. So there was another thing I was going to say too about these ancient civilizations. I knew that at some point in time that these gods had to have their own territory because they didn't live right with the people. They would show up and they would disappear. So it made sense to me that there had to be something going on here in North America because it's completely left off of all the Bibles and ancient history that we're knowledgeable about, because so many of the books, the ancient books, are restricted from us from actually accessing that information. So it make very, very good sense to me that there was a thriving, intelligent, tall civilization here that was free from all the species of humans that they were breeding across the ocean, that they would guard and they would visit every once in a while, and people knew about these gods, but they didn't really know where their homes were. Their homes weren't out in space someplace. Their homes, I believe, were there in Texas, where you're finding their symbols and their beings carved in that stone.
And what made you draw this conclusion that one of their home bases was in Texas?
Well, because you're seeing the grandmother spider there. You're
Yeah.
seeing the faces of Isis and Osiris and all these gods that are, worldwide. And they know in worldwide by different names. But where across the world do you actually see their images carved into stone? They're carved into stone in Texas.
Bravo.
So yeah. So, there's a great canyon in Arizona. It looks like an amphitheater. I'm like, wow, that looks just like an amphitheater. I think that they had huge homes here, that they were thriving, and this was the center of their metropolis.
A
So,
100%. And I think, and I have to ask myself, if the deserts of the world, and we're only looking at wait till I show you what we found in New Mexico, then you're really going to believe there was something going on here in the desert Southwest. Wait till I start debuting New Mexico. But the deserts of the world, I believe, was the home to the zodiac kings, what we call the zodiac. I believe that the Zodiac kings, who were the Titans, because of their DNA and the amount of strands of DNA that they have, they could shapeshift. This is where we get mythology, zoomorphism, and anthropomorphism, associating humans with animals, associating animals with humans. When we go back to all ancient religions, in every culture, everywhere on earth, the mighty men, the hunters, the military leaders, the kings were all associated with animals. There is a reason why kingship, and Connor, this is where you come in. There's a reason why kingship is always associated with three things: the lion, the lion headed ones, the bird, as in the falcon or the eagle. And then the third one, they just totally erased my mind for king. Oh my God. What is the third one associated with kings? It's the lion, it's the bird, and it's the other one. Oh, they just erased my mind. Oh, demoniacs. But there's a reason why all kingship is associated with three particular animals, because the kings take on the actual characteristics of these animals. And we see that in all religion and in all indigenous culture. And this is why it's important that we go back. We need to break free of this Elohim stronghold where the earth belongs to the Elohim. Everyone else is a pig and kill them all, and the earth is 6,000 years old. Bullshit. We have to go back and start talking to these indigenous people, stop calling them primitive, and asking them, hey, what's your story about the land you live in? Connor, that's your cue, and wrap it up.
Thank you guys for having me in. It's great to be on again. I can't wait to be on part 2 where we get to dig a little deeper. You can find me by my email. Shoot me an email, whatever. I'll see you guys soon.
Connor, thank you. And Sherry, your final thoughts.
Yeah, I want to thank you for inviting me to join in on your group. Yeah, these ancient technology, I agree with Connor. We do need to listen to the Indians and listen to their stories, because it's been passed down and they lived it. And the white man has completely captured that society and squashed all of their legends and mythology. They make everybody out as fools. And, they even found skeletons here 12 feet tall. So there were huge, huge humanoids here in the eastern west, northeastern part of the United States. But, you know, the Smithsonian came in and they captured all those skeletons and they just disappear. But the legends are still there. We even have to talk about how they align their buildings up to the stars. So everything is in alignment. So there was great mathematics going on. But
Way
yeah,
more advanced arithmetic, way advanced. And they told them where to align everything.
yeah,
And
yeah. So,
and plus, before writing was invented, they passed everything down through oral tradition. So yeah, always listen to the natives.
Go for
so
it. Go
that's
for it.
it.
Go ahead. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah,
Also,
yeah. So that's it. Yes.
Go ahead, Sherry.
All right. Yeah. So I'll just bow out, but I want to thank you. And yeah, we still have a lot of information to discuss because we're just scratching the surface.
And don't forget the Native Africans, because they're indigenous as well. And they also have the similar tradition. And we are now seeing evidence that there was a great war that literally destroyed the surface layer of all of North Africa, terraformed it, and the surface layer of West Africa and the southern part of Africa. Why do we find in the west coast of Africa a nuclear reactor that's 5 billion years old?
Yeah, there's a lot going on in Africa. I
Yeah.
mean, we can sit here and talk about
They just cut you off. They totally cut you off, Sherry. Why do we find bomb marks for aerial bombings in the southwestern part of Africa? What were they trying to wipe out? So when ignorant people say the Africans had no history and culture and didn't build anything, no, 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 no. The Africans, the Oklo mine in Gabon, you got it, operation. They literally went to war, and the one group who recorded that war were the Hindus. The Hindus recorded that war, the war with the gods. Okay, so guys, really begin to think. Really begin to think, right? Imagine a luau with kalua, LOL. Yes, okay, a luau. Okay, guys, so we're going to do part 2 soon, and I would love to have both Connor and Sherry back because I can't wait to debut the second information about the depths. We're looking at, I'm beginning to wonder if this picture on the screen, these are the Olympians. And what I show you in part 2, if those were the Titans. Guys, join us on the next stream. I hope you guys love this. Share this video everywhere. Connor and Sherry, it's been an honor. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.